You are listening to the USDN on the DFPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. And, I scrolled down way too far. Hang on. Where am I at? I'm found. So, he was rejected over 200 times by the mainstream comic industry, so he built his own. No crowdfunding, no shortcuts, no AI. 17 volumes currently in print and for sale, nearly 13,000 physical copies sold, a TV deal in motion, and now a toy line headed to Walmart shelves. This isn't a comeback story. This is what happens when you never stop building. The Council of Nerds is now in session. Xing, welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
So this has been, I think you hit me up, early February or late January?
I think so.
This has kind of been sitting on the docket for a while now, and it's one I've been really, really excited to dig into because, my guy, you have such a rich history of doing everything your own way. So how did you get started in this business of comic books?
So I always enjoyed like fantasy and fairy tale stories and things that took you on adventures beyond the scope of reality. And I had been drawing for as long as I could remember, even as a kid, just making doodles and coming up with stories for things. And then I created one character that stuck with me, and then I figured, well, I'll keep building on that. And I kept building, and weeks turned into months, and months turned into years. And then the first copy I sold in front of a 7-Eleven in 1996. And it was
all places to sell something in front of a
7-Eleven. In front of a 7-Eleven. Yeah, I mean, it just kind of happened that way. And back then, I mean, printing is so different today. There are so many options that are available to creators, to anyone really. But back then, it was difficult. It was expensive. Technology was not caught up to where we are now in the present, and so it was a lot of kind of finagling to try to get it done. And I just had to take paper and print it in sets of 4 on large laid out 11 by 17 paper, and then I had to fold it, I had to staple it, I had to trim it myself, and they were trimmed so bad. It was, and I still have 2 of the original copies from back then. And so then it was just like, okay, I just wanted to tell my story. I just wanted to put it out there and hoped, well, maybe somebody would enjoy it. Someone would like it. And I didn't know what was going to happen. And then, here we are 32 years later, and, things have kind of taken the shape where they're at now.
So it's very well known that you were rejected multiple times. I'm talking like 200 rejections. What did those rejections actually teach you about the business of comics?
Well, it taught me a couple things. Definitely endurance. And I mean, because, you know, if you really want something, the hits are going to come. That no matter what it is, they are going to come, and the failure will come with it. And so you have to be able to navigate that the right way so it doesn't break your spirit. And it was hard. Like in the very beginning, I remember the first like maybe 10 rejections I got. It was soul crushing. And I was just like, I don't understand. Why can't I get this chance? And then I realized as time went on and I kept submitting and I kept getting rejected, the industry has a very specific window that they operate through, this view of how they see things. And some could see it as narrow-minded, others could see it as gatekeeping. Some might say it's a mixture of all of those types of things. And so I knew from that the only way to succeed is you can't wait for someone to give you a door. You have to just make your own door, and you can't just rely on a hope that someone. Now, yeah, sometimes people do get a chance. They're in the right place or they know the right people, and it opens up things for them. But that wasn't my experience, and so I took away from it that really to do this and to endure, you have to love what you do. You have to be passionate about it. It can't be about, I want people to think I'm famous, or I want to do this or do that. You got to just love the craft as it is, and you just stick with it. And when the bumps come, because they will, you just roll with them, and then you just keep going. So that's what I took away from it. And then I just made my own path to just do my own thing.
Dude, that's inspirational as hell right there. Jeez. And dude, you've done it eloquently. You're not complaining about it. You're not doing anything like that. You just picked it up, said, okay, and just press forward. That's something that everybody should be able to look at you and go, I'm going to do it that way.
And it's tough. I mean, it's, I speak with a lot of creators who are new to comics, who've maybe been in it a couple years, and I always like to use the illustration of the Cell Saga as a perspective to get balance on things, in the sense when they went into the hyperbolic time chamber, Vegeta and Trunks, and Trunks talked about how he watched his father train, but Vegeta wouldn't let him train with him. And so he realized what Vegeta had done, but Trunks thought, well, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to train, and I'm going to get my power up. So battle comes. We know what happens. Vegeta's ego kind of gets the better of him, but Trunks did surpass his father in a power level, but the problem was he didn't have the experience to know how to balance that out the right way. And what happened? His power went all the way up, and then it burned out very quickly. And so I use that analogy to say that's how you have to do things methodically, like Vegeta. You have to say, okay, we can do this, but if we do it turn and burn, it will fail. But if you take your time and you do it the right way, then you'll start to develop that ability to balance what you need to keep the long run in mind, and not, I instantly want success, because anything instant, it does not endure. Anything that takes a long time to cultivate, it stays, and it becomes something that is kind of unshakable in a certain way. So that's really how you have to approach it.
Speaking of unshakable, 13,000 physical copies, 0 crowdfunding, rare in today's ecosystem of indie comics. How did you build a direct audience like that?
So I think the thing is that whenever you're presenting what you do to somebody, You have to really know your story. It has to be as lifelike to you as reality is. You need to be able to just say, hey, well, this is that, and these are these things, and I can tell you about this place and its history. And so you for yourself have to know it, and you have to make it believable. When it comes to selling, so many, I know, I get the use of why digital is convenient. I understand it. It's free. You don't have to worry about shipping cost and printing cost and all things that go into that. However, if you give away all the secrets for free, unless someone is really an ardent supporter, why would they come back and then buy it to rediscover the secrets they've already seen? And so for me, I find what you have to do is you have to find a way to present your series to someone and get them emotionally invested, get them hooked. You give them just enough to pique their curiosity, and then once that happens, then you can show them the rest of the door to say, okay, this is where this is going to take you. And so for me, I found that selling is just another part of, it's like another art. You just have to find a way to do it. If you can't pitch what you do in 30 seconds or less, you need to go back to the drawing board, because nobody's going to sit at a table and say, well, give me 5 minutes and I can tell you the story. No, you need to be able to say, hey, this is about boom, boom, boom. And if they're interested and it's got a hook that they like, then there you go. And that's what you do. And then you just keep learning how to pivot that for every audience. How you sell to one comic shop and how you sell to someone just walking around at a comic convention might be two different things. So that's what you have to do. And so over the years, it was like, I realized that, and it's not about me. At the end of the day, yeah, this is my series. I created it. I write it. I draw it. I publish it. But it's because people believe in it that it turns into something else. And then you share that experience with them. But you have to be able to get people invested in what you're doing. And then at a certain point, it kind of sells itself. It just kind of moves along. And there are times where the books are selling out faster than I can reprint them and get them shipped out. And so, it's something I'm incredibly grateful for. But every day, I just keep trying to say, what can I do today that will give them more than what I did yesterday? It's always about quality, because if you don't hold yourself to a standard, well, people will get things that aren't the best, and you have to always give the best that you got.
So what were the biggest challenges of sustaining momentum without Kickstarter or Indiegogo or another crowdfunding platform like that?
I mean, part of it, I think, is just my my refusal to stop making it because I love it. But I think part of it too is, it's tough there. And you go through drought seasons where you sell really good. And then, you go through eras where you're like, I sold 2 books this week. And then sometimes it's like, great, I sold 200 books this week. And so really you have to, it's like, this is my full-time job. This is just what I do every day. I come in my office and I draw and I letter and I work on different aspects of the current issues that I'm at. I pack orders, and you just have to every day say, okay, let me email new shops. Let me talk to new customers. When sometimes the delivery driver comes, I'm like, hey, you into this? You into anime? You got people who like that? And they're like, yeah, I'll give them a preview edition for free. Mm-hmm. So they take it. They have a business card. Then they come back and I get an order from the website. So you have to take advantage of every opportunity, and you have to know when to push and when to pull. See, that goes back to the balancing thing. And so I just keep I just keep telling the story, and I'm so grateful for the people who believe in it. That to me is the greatest reward of this, is knowing how it affects people. And I've had people message me to let me know it's made them cry. It's made them reflect on how they interact with people in their lives that they care about. So it's a lot of things that I never thought would happen, but I just kept saying, well, I just want to share this story and keep putting it out there for people to hopefully enjoy.
Dude, I like it. I really do. So this, I don't know if this is going to be a controversial question or not, but it's one of those where you've done everything without crowdfunding. So do you believe indie creators have become too dependent on crowdfunding platforms? Or do you wish more would utilize them?
I mean, now it's part of the business model that just exists for comics. It just is there. And I understand the nature of why people use it. I get it. That's a completely reasonable thing. But I also think if you only rely on using that and you're only selling in your own circles, I hear a lot of creators say, I have a hard time marketing. I have a hard time selling. I have a hard time. But if you're using the platform, you're used to just saying, okay, here's the link, hey guys, can you share it out? Or, hey, you want to support it? That works for that part of the community. But a person outside of that, they're not going to want to know that I have to go to 2 and 3 different links, or I have to go to this page and sign up to that page. And so it's important to learn how to be versatile and not, because now just imagine crowdfunding went away tomorrow. How many series would survive if it disappeared tomorrow? And see, that is
so many amazing series disappear. I think I've interviewed maybe 50 different, indie creators, and like to see some of those series that I've grown to love just disappear overnight because of that. Would honestly, it would be heartbreaking for me, but I couldn't imagine as the creator of those how they would feel about that. Right.
So see, that's where again it's a balance of what you have to do. And so I get it. I do. I completely understand. And it's funny because ironically, in March, I'm going to do my first ever crowdfund with the company for a very small, it's not the money thing. I thought, well, it let me try to share it with more creators in that vein of things, because it's so much that circulates through these groups that I thought, well, this is how you can keep introducing it to new people. So I mean, it feels weird. It's kind of like a weird thing for me to even think that I'm gonna have like a small one that I'm gonna try, because for so long it's just like, well, I just make it and I publish it and I open pre-orders on my website, and then people order and I just sell it at stores and I get it into shops and so that for me is different. But I think it's a good tool, but I think it's important to also learn to thrive without that as your main source, because if you don't have that and you don't know how to market, you're not going to grow by still saying, hey, go support that. Most people are going to say, well, no, I'm not just going to do that. You have to give them a reason why.
No, and that's one of those reasons why I do this show right here, where I support indie creators, because I do want to give them another platform to market themselves to other people. Because the marketing part, in my opinion, and what I've noticed in the year plus that I've been doing indie creator content, is marketing is the hardest part. Yes, Facebook groups are great. Instagram is great, but it's getting people to those sites to see your stuff. And even
Right.
I, as a podcaster, I have those same issues. And I was just telling you before we went live that I've literally spent probably 90% of my day doing exactly those things that I'm learning to market myself better and to make my content better for others. And people seen an example of that today with that quick 15-second video, just reminding people like, hey, Xing is going to be here tonight. Make sure you tune in.
Right. Exactly. No, and you're approaching it the right way. I mean, so real quick, let's just look at the dynamics of the way the system is set up. Diamond left the comic industry in shambles.
Oh,
Why? Because they used a model that really was prehistoric, and it functioned in a way that it shouldn't have functioned for so long, but it did. Now, yes, there are detractors who will say that's not true, but the proof is evident. Because why? Where is it? Diamond has become like what Obi-Wan said about the Jedi in episode 4. They're all but comic shops now are all but extinct because of that method that they hooked themselves to. And so really, yes, there are always new books and creators and new things coming out. So the marketing part to say, well, how can I stand out? How can I get my work seen? And there's already so many very unique things out there. And that goes back to the very simple basics of you have to really know your story, make something unique, make something engaging. When everybody else is following a popular artistic trend, do the opposite. Don't do the thing everybody else is doing. And I know there are people who will say, oh, but if you do that, you won't be seen and you won't get. Sure, it's easy to get seen in the massive crowds of things, but then even in that, you begin to dwindle out when people with much more popular names jump on that same bandwagon, and now they have all the prime spots. So to stand out, you have to really say, okay, what can I do that no one else is doing that way? And that's a part of the longevity that has helped Ximphonic Versus. Is it's not like other series. It's not like, I mean, like, here's an example. This is the 17th issue. Now, this is the Pythagorean Chromatica, which it's called 17/3, and that is a reference. It's a musical reference. However, you don't see the characters. You don't see action pages. You don't see great splashes of color. Why? Because for me, this is how I tell my story. This is how I present it to people, with symbolism of things that are indicative to the story itself. Because Ximphonic Versus really is, it's like, even though it's a dark fantasy, it's really like a melodic opera that is tragic and beautiful. And so that's one example. Now, this is the Horror Vacui edition. Now, this is over 200 pages. It's hardcover. It's the first 8 volumes. And again, you don't see the characters, but you see themes that are written, that are so important, that have meaning to me, to the story, to the characters. And now on the back, I've put some of the endorsements I've got from MSN and Screen Rant and Jim Valentino, Santa Monica Studio, who produces God of War, Konami. So you put that real quick, we put that into perspective. I'm a one-man show, all the rejections, all the things, yet the actress from The Handmaid's Tale reads my series. She has bought every volume. Santa Monica Studio, God of War is one of the most popular IPs in the world. Sold hundreds of millions of copies to gamers.
Konami is Castlevania.
Castlevania, right. So imagine people who do those things, and they're saying what you're doing is right. What you're doing is correct. And so again, this comes back to, it's not that it's about me, but it's about the work itself. That's the dichotomy of this situation. And so that's where it's important for creators to say, okay, I need to really make something unique. I need to really make it original. I mean, I got put on Screen Rant. Screen Rant said, this is the best indie comic you haven't read. And I'm not a legacy publisher attached to something. It's not like I have corporate Warner Brothers money funding it. No, it's just me. But I have found that what I do and how I present it and how I tell my story, that affects people greatly. And that's what continues to bring them back for more and more. And I'm just thankful for that. So I'm just saying all of that to say those really, all those parts, they connect and they work together. And that's what creators should try to focus on as best they could.
Well said. So, Jen, thank you for stopping by the podcast. It really means a lot that you stop by to support the USDN as well as Xing. It means the world to us. So appreciate that. Don't forget to drop us a follow, please, because we do this every week, multiple times a week, and we do appreciate when people stop by and show their love. So let's talk about the Ximphonic Versus now. So that's the center of your universe is Prince Adonis, an omnious, centuries-old figure forced to choose between power and love.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you said this has been the idea that has been with you since you were a younger man, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, as you can see, I'm a much older man now, but yeah, I mean, and it's funny, the story that I started working on 32 years ago and the story of today, they are the same. It is the same thing. And so in the story, Prince Adonis, now the world Ximphonic Versus takes place in is called Levi Samanos V. And that has a very particular meaning to the series and how it affects what's going on. And so of course it's not Earth, it's its own universe. And in the story, he's trying to find this iniquitous power, but it really is about him making a choice not between good and bad, but between evil and a greater evil. So really, how can you do what's right when you can only do what's wrong? You can only make wrong choices. And as the series goes on, you will see that he actually lived a very lonely, very solitary life. His parents have died. His wife has died. He has his mentor who has trained him for centuries, Countess Concerto. And even though he is the crowned prince of his empire, which is called the Noctum Imperium, he's not ruling it as its emperor. There's a reason he's not sitting on the throne. There's a reason in the story for that. So he sets out, he goes to this treaty signing because their world has been at war for 800 years. And there's a powerful empire called the Countathalian dynasty. And Countathalia, in their dialect, it means the land of nobility. And so he goes to this treaty signing that takes place in a neutral kingdom, which is known as the Glass Kingdom. And he goes there, and that's where he meets Princess Sapphirose. And they discover that they both share this rare ability to behold celestial light. And they're the only two beings on their entire world who possess this power. And that ties into the story. It ties into all these things that are going on. And he discovers that there is a way he could bring his wife back. And who of us, if we could not fix the wrongs and save the people we love,
100%.
at what
You're going to
cost?
take a chance.
Right. What would you do to fix it? What would you do to save the people you love? And so that's really where the story starts to take this very interesting shape in the dialogue about choices, about things that we do. And is it really justified, or do the ends justify the means? Is it really this way? And that image that we were speaking about before we came on,
absolutely stunning.
The other various characters that people meet throughout the series, he's the only one looking backwards. See, and that's indicative to what is happening in the story and his inability to let go of things. And it has a lot of action. The characters have all these really fantastical powers and things that they can do. And as it goes on, you see him falling further into darkness. You see him making worse choices than he did before. And the series is, again, it's like a melodic opera. So much of the series is built around musical references. A lot of the book is written in Latin and Welsh and Greek. I actually created languages for the various races, so they have their own dialects as well.
So cool.
There's world maps. There's the soundtrack, and I mean the soundtrack. I had the soundtrack composed like decades ago for the music. So I wanted people to be able to explore the aspects of that world and then explore music that came with it. And so now the soundtrack, I mean, it's got 24 songs, and actually the composer a year and a half ago, he wrote 2 more new songs for it. And
nice.
So when you order it from the website, you get the soundtrack as a digital download, all that comes with it. But so that's what the story is about. It's about him and that choice between these two evils, and where do we justify it, and where does the line draw where we say, hey, that was too much, or no, I've got to take this even further now to make this right. But not everything is the way it appears to be, and so that's the very human element, but it's set in that stunning fantasy world that is very high Baroque, but it's my own influence on that, and Asian culture and European design, and it really is just kind of its own thing.
So it's been like, there's been comparisons between Final Fantasy, Castlevania to your book. Were those influences to you, or did that kind of like provide anything for you, or that's just really awesome comparisons?
I love Castlevania. I love Final Fantasy.
Same.
It's what I take away from that is this. There's a difference between someone saying, well, it inspired me, but then they just are copying what they see, or someone saying, well, that taught me something about how I need to think outside the box, and what can I take away from that. And so really the inspiration is, yes, you get inspired by things that you see, but it's more of what can I learn from this that I can then say, okay, these are things I need to work on to improve how I tell my story, to improve how I show these designs. What can I do to keep making it unique? And so that's the takeaway from it that way. As far as, and I don't like to compare things, but sometimes people ask, like, what does it feel like? And I tell them, well, if you took Hamlet and Final Fantasy and Castlevania, and you like the vein of those things, the pronounced irony, the dark fantasy, the magnificent designs and stunning creatures and cities and backdrops, it's that, but it's just its own thing. If that makes sense that way.
Oh, 100%. And I'm telling you, Adonis gives me strong Belmont vibes. One bad decision after the other. That's a Belmont for you.
That is a great compliment. I would definitely take that. And he's,
hey, please.
It's funny because in the series, he, in a way, he kind of puts on a cool veneer about his self. It's really to hide his pain and agony. I mean, he's suffering with PTSD. He's suffering with depression. And one of the other elements about the series, it is written and it's endorsed by a licensed professional psychologist who specializes in those mental health disorders, because of the things that he is struggling with. And within each release, there is a letter from the doctor, and then there's information for the National Crisis Line. So it's meant to also help people who are in these similar situations. It's by no means at all it is not a replacement for anything, but it is something to help aid people in realizing that they're not alone when they're struggling through these types of things, because that is very much where he is at. He is in this bad place, and he's been in this bad place for a long time. And when you're trying to make sense of things, and you're trying to make it fun in the modern time, you need people to help you. But he doesn't have people helping him. He has people encouraging his behavior that is not helping anything in the long run. And so that is also part of the problem for him.
So what makes Ximphonic Versus emotionally different from traditional dark fantasies that people may find themselves reading or picking up?
So dark fantasy sometimes is categorized by just that one tone. It's like one note. But Ximphonic Versus is like a ghost note. So in the musical sense, that means indistinguishable beat that comes along. You can't really put it in a certain perspective. And so it's not just that it's this element where there are these ferocious types of beasts and these dark elements, but sometimes darkness comes from the things that seem most human, even though they're not. Relationships, inner struggles, the situations we find ourselves in, enemies that we didn't know we had, enemies that were once allies. And so the writing is done in a way where it helps the reader to appreciate it's not written like Batman or Superman. It's not written the way you would write Thor or Spider-Man, or it has a very different take, and the lyrics are written away as if they're almost being sung. You know, it's like the recitative that's used for opera. It's that same kind of aspect to it. And so really what happens is that as you read the words and you're looking at each character, I try to pour so much of the essence of all of the pain and the joy and the love and the anger and all the things that are there, so that it becomes beautiful, it becomes mellifluous, but it becomes tragic in that way. And I think that's what helps it to stand out. Is it, you know, I couldn't say I could write a Batman story, but I know how to write this story because this is the way it sounds and the way it looks match each other. If that makes sense.
No, 100%. That 100% makes sense to me. So you've made it abundantly clear, and that you do not use any AI generated art. I know when people first put their eyes on this, that could be where the first place their mind is going to go, is that it is AI generated. However, you have been making this book longer than AI has been around. How important is it for people to understand that this is you? 100%.
I mean, that's very important, and it's offensive when someone assumes that's what it is. I mean, I get offended by that, not in the sense of like, oh, you know, I did this, you shouldn't be watering it down. No, because it takes so much of my very being to make this artwork. Every design, every pattern, every color, every ornate detail I have to make, I have to design. And it's funny, I could never get distribution, and this ties to your question. Diamond didn't want to distribute it. I couldn't get other distribution. So, of course, Philbo Distribution came along. Phil is such a great guy, and he really wants to help creators and help the industry. Him and Mar, she's wonderful. They run it together. They didn't hesitate. They didn't gatekeep me, but he told me, he said, well, we just want you to know we had to run it through these AI things to make sure. I said, no, I understand. I get it. You're not familiar with what I do, so I understand. And they ran it through, and he's like, no, it's not AI. He said, we checked, and it's not. And I said, right, it wouldn't be because I made it. But so because he won't distribute books that are made with AI, and so my distributor can vouch for it. There are I've got so many things that show where the book started looking like this about 2010, like full color with the details, but the style just kept evolving, and you keep growing as an artist.
That's what you do, and that's why you don't want to be stuck. You want to evolve when the art evolves and the way comics evolve.
Yeah, exactly. And so for me, and I learned art from Korean, Indonesian, and Chinese art experts. And so anyone who is familiar with art from those parts of the world, it is not like Western art. It's that, and European art has always been ahead of the curve from where America and their standards with art are placed at. And so that's what greatly influenced how I do my comic is much closer to a Hong Kong comic, really, than anything.
That the name, I thought you were going to be an Asian man. I'm going to be honest.
So
until I started doing my research on who you were, and then I was like, well, shit, that name don't match.
No, I did not. So my grandmother is from Taiwan, and
perfect.
Growing up,
matches.
It's like I have cousins that if you see us, we don't look like we should be related, but we are. We just have different dads. And so growing up, long before the anime boom and the Toonami and all there was a time where you couldn't just go into a comic shop and pick up an anime and check it out. There were some comic shops that didn't carry it. There were some video stores that didn't used to have it. And so I grew up in an environment where I was used to seeing those things. That was not new to me. So when people would say, "Oh, I saw this cartoon and I don't understand what it is, but it was so great," and I always think I chuckle because I'm just like, "Oh, yeah, wait till you see the stuff better than that." Because it's so many things that are there, and so for me, that's been the important part, and that's also why a lot of the writing on the covers, that's why I use the Chinese calligraphy, because it's important it's like you have to be able to feel the intentions of the author. That really is a whole set of skills and ideals within itself. And so that's the motivation behind that. That's part of it. And that's, if people were wondering, that is why I do it that way.
No, that is really cool that it's not just because it looks cool. It's actually a familial bond for you.
Yes.
And that's really awesome that you're able to bring a part of yourself, your family, into what it is that you are doing. And man, that's awesome, dude. And it makes so much more sense. And because so, I don't know how other podcasters or journalists or anybody else does things, but when I get I'm going to look you up. I'm not just going to be like, oh, let me figure out who this person is. I'm not going to just be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll put him down for this day. Yeah. Before I ever email you back, I've already looked you up. I've Googled you. I've done all that.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, and it was just, I was like, because I'm expecting because I've my reach has gotten out there further, because I do have some Filipino guests coming on here soon for a new manga company starting up in the Philippines, which would be really cool to have them on. So my reach is getting further and further, and I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be straight up honest. I was expecting to have a Chinese man sitting in front of me, or a Vietnamese man. And
I get that. Yeah.
So like my shock when I look you up and I'm like, did I misspell something? And I'm like retyping it. I'm like, oh no, it's him. It's him. He's a Jersey boy, so it's him.
It's me, and you know, and I mean I've it's a lifelong thing of just, you just have to be who you are, and I mean, growing up, kids were outside playing sports and all that stuff. I was drawing my own books. I was, you know, looking at things with Greek mythology and history, and that's stuff I've done all my life. Like, people are, hey, we're gonna go play basketball, and I'm like, nah, it's cool, but I'm gonna. I mean, you know, it's fine. Hey, you like what you like. That's perfect, fine. But I always tell people that's just not what I'm into, and I just like to do this stuff, and this is what I've done my whole life.
It absolutely nothing wrong with it. So in this era of rapid automation, what does the word craft mean to you?
I think craft it's a skill. It's it's something that you develop, and it's something you spend a long time trying to hone, and you never get it perfect, but you keep reaching for excellence. It's like a lifetime of perfection for a lifetime of failure. There is no perfect, but you don't stop trying. You just keep going, and you hone that craft. You make that skill razor sharp day after day after day. And that again goes back to the longevity. Because if you do the turn and burn, sure, it might float you for a little bit, but eventually you'll run out of steam because you don't have the endurance to survive what slopes down after you come off the top part of success. And so it really, it's a skill. It's just it's something you have to just keep honing for life.
So are you ready though? Because we're about to go into the next segment, indie to industry. You're streaming bound. You're collaborating with Disney Plus, Hulu. You're also entering retail through a toy line in Walmart. But are you ready to show them the clip? We only got this. We got the sample. We got the sampler platter. We can give them the whole thing, but I'm pretty sure they will all appreciate this sample platter that you gave us tonight.
I'd very much like for them to see it and just know what you're seeing is just a little taste of what the TV show will offer.
All right, let's hit this button. Oh, let me do it with the volume. I don't want to cheat people. They get the volume too. And that's just the sampler platter. I don't know about the rest of the people out there, but when I see that, hype. I'm ready to go.
I appreciate it. I was so fortunate to when I got the TV deal, I got a message from a guy, and he said, what is this? And it was a picture of Honest that I had drawn at the time. And I said, oh, it's this character from my series. And he said, I want you to call this number at exactly 3 p.m. on Monday. And I didn't know what he was. I thought maybe he was like an art dealer or something. I didn't know he was a publisher. So I was like, okay. And he emphasized again, he said 3 p.m. do not be late. And I thought, okay. So I'm checking because I'm like, that area code is not where I'm living. So let me check it. Monday rolls around. I'm like timing it to make sure ringing there at exactly, because he was very very sturdious on that point that you cannot be late. So I call, and he answers the phone, and he said, good, you called on time. He said, okay, I'm here. The board of directors are here and the president of the film company is here. You have 30 seconds, pitch it to us. And at first, I'm thinking I'm being pranked. I'm thinking it's a joke, like, okay, all right, who's messing with me? And but I do my little pitch. I do the 30-second pitch, and they're like, okay, hang on. And it's inaudible. I can hear them, but I can't hear what they're saying. And then the president of the film company gets on the phone and he says, you know what, I like it. So we're going to turn it into a TV show. We'll get you the contracts this week. And I remember I was holding the phone and I thought, wait, I can't get a publisher to publish it. I can't even get them to give me a chance. And you're telling me that a movie studio wants to turn it into a TV show, to which I get to be an executive producer. I get to be one of the lead writers. I'm involved with the art direction of the show. And I thought, this can't be happening this way. But sure enough, there it was. And so then that changed everything. That opened up so many doors to so many things, that now I found myself saying, whoa, in 100 years, if someone said, hey, this is going to happen, I would have never believed it.
Well, that is so amazing. 30 seconds to change your life.
Literally 30 seconds. And they were just like, okay, and so then that really, for me, it helped me to appreciate that I have to just keep learning and keep refining what I'm doing. And just that's what you do. You keep your head down and you just keep doing the work, and not getting caught up in this and that. And no, just focus on your story, focus on your craft, and just stay at it. And things I can firsthand, I'm living proof. Things can happen that you didn't think would happen. Now it's different for everybody. However, that is proof that anything is possible.
Dude, that is absolutely outstanding. And that's just like the ultimate, like, put it right back at them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Oh, see, you wouldn't shake my hand then, but look at me now. Not only are you literally just inked a TV deal, you're also designing, and your action figures will soon be in Walmart retail stores.
Yeah,
I have seen the videos of the one finished one, and these aren't just normal action figures. These are hefty boys, like bigger than McFarlane size. And I think McFarlane's are 7.5 or something like that.
Yeah, I do
about
1/6.
Deluxe McFarlane size figures.
Yeah. I do 1/6. And people ask, why did I choose that scale? I always wanted action figures that were super detailed and unique and looked that way. But nowadays those things exist and it's easier to get access to them. But years ago it wasn't like that. It was different. But yeah, so I actually have of course, the first figure is the Prince Adonis. Now, when I don't do the 3D sculpting, I hire a team of people who do that. But all the designs and the art are things that I've made for the series, and then they take it and they build the 3D sculpt. And so before the first figure was done, I said, well, I just want to see how it will look to see Adonis in person. And this is just part of his body. We didn't get to get all of it done because at the time it wasn't finished. But this is the Prince Adonis action figure, which it will be
massive,
12 by 5 by 8 when it's all put together, because it's 1/6. It will have like 28 points of articulation, and there's like all this stuff that you cannot see that it just makes it look really fun. But so that's him. And we had to go back and making toys. That's a whole different art. So I had to, they're like, I get it, but because the way the design, it's so dramatic, we have to account for the mobility and how we move it. So we had to go back and redesign articulation for him. So I said, okay, while that's happening, let's do one of the villains, which is the Shadow Knight, and we were able to fully finish that one. So this is the Shadow Knight Wraith Viper, which is
such a cool figure.
Oh, thank you. It's 13 inches tall because of the thunder auroras that are at the top of his armor. And I mean, you can see the detail is, I mean,
that's absolutely amazing.
All the pieces. And so in the story, the Shadow Knights are this race of warriors that they thought were extinct. But they had been in secret, building new alliances with new powers and doing other stuff like that. So that's the Shadow Knight. He has a cape. He has different sets of hands that he comes with and weapons. So the box, this is the box that the figure will come in by itself. But
wow, that's freaking awesome.
It doesn't come with just the box by itself. Like, this is just the box for the figure, but the figures come with accessories and all that stuff. So this is the box that everything comes in, is this massive box. And
that's
so
awesome.
when people get their figures, this is what you'll see. That's the synopsis. And on the back, that shows you the Prince Adonis with 3 of his celestial swords out of the 5 that he comes with for the Ultimate Edition. So that lets you see how the rest of his body looks. And then this one has the QR codes to the Screen Rant and the USA News and Yahoo. And so people can look at the articles, they can see the media coverage, stuff like that. And so it's a lot. There's a lot that is going into everything. And, the toys we're still in production and getting things moving. And I'm hoping by end of this year into like early 2027, then they'll be available to get from Walmart. So it just, it's so many moving parts, so many logistical pieces to everything. And it's like you're having to relearn how to walk.
Yeah.
For everything. It's just a totally different thing, but it will come with a t-shirt and the weapons and power effects. And it also comes with this. They get the Horror Vacui edition. So anyone who gets the toys, you get the first 8 volumes as well. This is included with it. So as you can see, I mean, that box is huge, and it has to be to hold everything that will be inside there.
Are you using a microphone right now?
Yeah.
Because when you just hit it, it gave us a lot of pop-in.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it was there, but
oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. I just wanted to let you know that. I don't know if you knew that or not, that whenever you hit your mic, it just like does that popping noise.
Oh, well, anyone who
I don't know if it's a cord issue or what it is, but I just wanted you to know that.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
No. That is literally nothing to apologize about. I've had worse stuff happen before.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. I will. Yeah. When I come again, I'll make sure I have a different setup for sure. So.
Oh no, you were good, man. I just wanted you to know that. Hey, later on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you letting me know. Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we've talked about you've grown to past comics now. You're moving into anime. You're moving into action figures. What was that moment where you realized Ximphonic Versus was going to scale beyond comic books?
I think it was once I got the TV deal that kind of just, I mean, that just kind of put everything in a different perspective completely. It took it from being something completely unassuming to then saying, okay, maybe all those 200 people who said no, maybe they just didn't really know what they were talking about, and maybe I am doing something that is worthwhile. Because I mean, I still question myself with a lot of things. For
one of those, let me pinch myself to make sure it's really happening.
Right, like you want to make sure, hey, is this really where it's at? So that for me was the beginning of what made me realize, okay, there is something to this that could work, despite all the setbacks, and that's kind of where everything started to change that way.
So let me ask you this. There's been very few independent creators out there enter big box retail like you are about to do. And not just retail, but also you just ink the deal with, for your anime. There's been one other. That's, I think, Todd McFarlane has been the only other person who's really gone from independent to mainstream to movies, animation, and action figures, but he bought a whole toy company to make that happen. You did not do that. So how does that how does that make you feel, knowing that you're probably like one of two guys or three guys who have done that? Well, the Toxic Avenger, but that's beside the point.
I mean, I feel like I feel like it's one of those things that it just felt like a natural progression for what I was hoping to do. It's like I always dreamed of having my own toys, my own toy line, but I never thought I would actually have it. And I think it's very good company to be in. I couldn't buy a toy company, but I made a division of my own company that now makes the toys. And it's not like, yes, ability to mass produce them, but that's not the goal right now. The goal is to say we're going to make them in quantities that the company can handle right now. And that is in itself, let me tell you, the cost is extremely still high.
Oh yeah, sure.
It is steep. And so even with that, it's like, okay, well, that's how I'm gonna do it. And so it's done more from like a collectible perspective, but
100%.
It feels nice to know that I am doing something that someone like Todd McFarlane is also doing, despite everything that's happened. I can't tell you how many times I have I cannot tell you the amount of trouble that I've had from people. One magazine canceled my interview because they said, well, we couldn't verify your sales. We checked your ISBN. I said, yeah, but see, you sell them in batches to comic shops at a discounted. See, that's what you're not understanding. That's how you have to sell them in
a single ISBN.
Yeah. Right. You can't take that one and say couldn't find them. And they were like, well, no, there's too many holes in your story. It's not. And I'm like, yet I'm on MSN. I'm on Screen Rant. I'm on, USA News. I'm on Yahoo. Guess what? They verify everything. You think Yahoo or MSN is just going to be like, oh, sure, throw it up. We're not going to check this. I'll put it here. No one's going to investigate.
They fact checked it.
They fact check everything. I have to provide the evidence. Hey, yeah, here is A, B, and C about this, and from emails from this person and these people, and it's all out there. Why? Because it's all true. So I've encountered people who I think really at the end of the day, they didn't want to see that I was doing something that they weren't, and they purposely tried to sabotage me with stuff. But those are things that it's like, that's you. I'm just going to keep doing what I have to do, and you keep moving forward, and
it's worked out for you,
right? I mean, everything it's worked out. So it's like, well, I'm still doing what I have to do, and I'm just grateful, but yeah, I'm very grateful to be sitting in that company with people like that.
No, 100%. So you now have distribution. We were talking a little bit about it before we went live with Philbo.
Mm-hmm.
Or we might have also mentioned it earlier when we were talking earlier in the interview. So how important was entering a direct market for long-term sustainability with Philbo as the distributor?
I mean, it's very important because that opens up so many other avenues that you wouldn't have access to that way. Because despite having the TV deals, despite the endorsements from these huge names in entertainment, the mainstream top of the industry still makes you fight for your spot at the table. They're not so quick to say, we'll let you have a place now because you've proven yourself. I still have to fight, contend for every opportunity that way within the industry. And so having a distributor who is grounded and wants to see creators grow and see them benefit from their work, that has been really great, because now it's introduced me to so many different new comic shops that I hadn't spoke to before. And I mean, I've sold books to people all over the world, but having a distributor makes it easier for shops to be able to have your library cataloged and say, oh, hey, well, I can go back and I can order the first 3 books because they're out, and then I've got the new one, and it's been very helpful.
No, that's really awesome. And so Philbo they got a Facebook group for those interested. They're on Instagram, of course, but really cool. I have a few friends that are a part of that group and a part of that family as well. Nice.
And Phil's such a nice guy. He really is. I mean, and he really wants what is best for creators. He really does. And that's what I really respect and appreciate about him. He's not a grifter. He's not there are plenty of those who are in the industry. There are plenty of people who will take any angle they can play and play it for their own means. Phil is the guy who literally is trying to help make a difference for the mess that Diamond helped leave for so many, and I mean, the creators, even big companies that may have been affected, they had so much corporate backing in the coffers, they weren't going to go under because of that. But think about smaller labels who are owed checks, owed money that they never are going to get. And it's like, well, what do you do? It wasn't
that long ago, Coffin Comics went purely self-publishing, self-everything.
Right.
And then Zenscope, they're kickstarting now to get their books out.
Right. See, so the domino effect of that situation.
It's crazy to think about, because you used to be able to buy Zenscope and Coffin right off the shelf.
Yeah. But the actions of, and it's funny, Diamond, when I submitted to them, they told me, and people sometimes think I'm joking, and I send them the screen capture of the email so they can see for themselves. Diamond said, we're not going to pick up your book because we can't compare it to anything on the market. So because you can't,
that would make me want to carry it.
Right. You would think that's the point of creativity, is we want new, we want exciting things, but they wouldn't take it because they said we can't compare it to anything. So we're not going to pick it up. And so they didn't. But in the long run, yeah, I was disappointed by that, but look how but now it's like Guy, when he talked about Rock Lee, and how he has no taijutsu and he has no ninjutsu, he has no genjutsu. He said all he has is his taijutsu. That's it. And he said, so what do? You take that disadvantage and you turn it into a blessing. You turn it into that superpower. So it's kind of like, a lot of things didn't work the kind of way I would have hoped or needed to, but you just pivot. And then you discover another way to get it done. And that's how you do it.
That's awesome. So 3 decades. 3 decades, that is a long amount of time. What has kept you going when things look like they were going to slow down or just completely die out for you?
You need a support system. You know, there are some fans that were, oh, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
Appreciate you stopping by, Dan.
There are some fans who have been with me for so long that they're not just a fan, but they're like a friend, you know, and I communicate with them, you know, as regularly as I can. And to know that they're always like, whatever has happened or gone on with these things not working or deals falling apart, they're just like, hey, you know, we believe in you, and we want to see you succeed, and we want to see it keep going. And to know that there are people who are that invested that they're like, hey, really, for all of starting out, thank you. Oh no, I'm happy to share my experience and my story, and just encourage creators. You know, it doesn't matter whether you've been doing it 10 years, 20 years, you just keep focusing on your craft, you keep honing it, and yeah, the hits are going to come, but you just keep going forward, and that's what you do. So I appreciate your kind words very much.
Absolutely. They're all well-deserved, and you've earned every single bit of it. Shout out to Donald. He just got his book funded not that long ago on Kickstarter. It's called Power Escape.
Nice. Congrats.
Amazing book. Great dude. I won't hold anything over him because he's a Jerseyan living in Canada. He's a great friend of the podcast and a great dude.
That's really nice, man. Congrats. That's excellent.
But so this is going to be one of those questions that I think every creator that comes on here gets asked. And what would you tell creators who are currently sitting at rejection number 50 or 100?
Don't stop. There is no, you don't stop. If you love this, if this is what you love, this is your passion, you're not going to let those numbers stop you. You will just say, okay, I'll just keep going, and you will find a way to do it. You will find a way to overcome that. And you just have to keep going, because guess what? People think when you reach certain levels, like I've had people say, well, it's easy for you. You've got TV deals and you're doing this, and guess what? Now I'm
years later.
Right. Literally 3 decades of life. But now you work even harder. So don't have a disillusionment about the man behind the curtain. That you can't think that way. You'll put yourself in a box and you'll set yourself up. You have to just keep going forward, no matter who doubts, who doesn't believe, don't worry about that. I know that sounds easier said than done, but every day, if you're a writer, write. And people say, I have writer's block. Okay, well then study literature, actual literature, not just reading comics. Pick up literary works and study them, learn from them. If you're an artist, I'm having artist block. Okay, well, you need to train yourself to be able to draw regardless of how you feel. See, it's a skill. Yes, it's a feeling, but it's a skill that when you ask about the craft, see, that's where that comes into play. That's what you have to be able to do.
See what I did there?
Right. See,
you got to all roll back on each other.
Man, let me tell you, that was the perfect setup for this play. And now, you know, that's the in tandem of what just happened. See, and that perfectly explains what creators have to do. So you have to make it so that it is a natural reaction to what is happening. So you don't give up. You keep going. You dig in and you refuse to quit, because that is what is going to give you the ability to overcome the other challenges that will present themselves, because they don't stop. They don't stop coming. The hardships, the difficulties, the things that you have to face. No, the the challenges just get stronger. But as you keep going, you're going to build that up, and you're just going to be able to endure the things that come as they do. And that's just what you have to do.
Dude, I love it. And we're going to give Donald crap because he moved to Canada complaining he traded pizza for poutine. He really is a great guy. He could take a joke. He's a friend of the podcast. He will be on the podcast next month again.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
I'll give him a crap again next month too. We love you, bro. So I did mention I had to ask this question, and I told you before the show, you can laugh it off, do what you want. March 18th, 2026.
Yeah, just keep waiting, just a little longer. Just a little longer. It's like I think about that
30 more days of teasing that you're dropping us.
A couple more days. It's like in Labyrinth, David Bowie's song where he says where they're at that ball, and
I'm just picturing that scene right now.
The name of that song has just left my mind. It's what happens when you're getting old. But it's one of the lyrics in there. He said, "It's only forever. It's not long at all." So it just, So you just keep waiting, and then then all this other stuff is going to happen, and it's exciting. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I did for everybody out there. I did pregame him. I did tell him I had to ask the question, and I was hoping about an hour into this he would have a change of heart and give us something. I tried, y'all. I did try. You can't fault me. I tried.
Well, trust me, when it does become apparent, I assure you, it's one of those moments where it's like in Phantom Menace, and as you realize, I like to describe everything in life with movie quotes from books and movies, and that's how I just do everything. But in Phantom Menace, when Sidious and Darth Maul are talking at night, and he's telling him, you have to go find them and follow the ship, and Darth Maul is like, "Oh, well, at last we're going to reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we're going to have revenge." It's that kind of thing where it's like that's just where you're waiting. You're waiting to be able to share it with people that way, and so it's just kind of like that. It's exciting, and I can't wait. I can't wait to share what is developed and what is about to happen, and I'm super excited.
No, I appreciate it. And it's just been fun watching you kind of like tease it for the last week or two. It's just
I gotta keep.
It's going to be it's going to be amazing, and everybody's going to be super excited, not just for you but for it in general. So it's just really awesome that, we're all on the edge of our seats, and nobody else knows. And it's just everybody else just like, what do they say about the monster truck rally? You can buy the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Right. I like that. That's very good. I like that. And I really appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate that. And I can't wait for people to know what's going on, and I'm so excited, and I'm so thankful, and that everything it's going to change. Everything is going to change, literally.
It's so awesome to see good shit happen to good people, man. It puts a smile on my face. I think I've smiled this entire show. It has been absolutely a blast to talk.
I've had a great time. Yeah, and, thank you so much.
I tried something new with this tonight's episode. You've seen my little pre-drop I did about a couple hours before the show.
Yeah,
experiment with different things. I tried a few different things with this one, and it's just me digging into like how to do what I do better. And I think that's what you've done and what I will continue to do, and that is evolve as a creator. So with that, Xing, tell everybody where they can find you at.
Okay. So you can go to symphonicversus.com, which is XimphoniCversus.com, or you can put Ximphonic Versus into Google. It pops up. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can message any of the social media. You can send a message through the website. The store is there for anyone who wants to order books. So anywhere that there's a form of social media, you can contact me, and I always will make sure I get back to you. It may be later that day, or if I'm really busy, it might be the next day, but I always get back to people.
Yeah, even if you misspell it, y'all, it'll still take you there. Trust me. I misspelled it once or twice, and it still took me to where I needed to go.
Right, it will just pop up. Yeah, it will.
It really will.
Up, so, yeah.
So, but we're going to close it out. 200 rejections, 32 years, 17 volumes, more coming. And I know he's working on like 19 and 20 as we speak right now. Nearly 13,000 copies sold without crowdfunding. And now streaming adaptions in development, a toy line soon to be entering Walmart 2027. Be on the lookout for that. And this beautiful Gothic world built entirely outside the traditional system. Xing did not ask for permission. He built persistence into legacy. And tonight we saw what happens when a creator refuses to disappear. The Council of Nerds is now adjourned. Xing, thank you again for joining the council tonight, sharing your journey with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the time and everyone's encouragement, and I look forward to coming back on the show and sharing more things at some point. And for everyone out there who's a creator, no matter what it is that you believe in yourself and do not give up. Don't ever stop trying. You fight for those dreams every single day. And you just keep going forward, because that's how winning is done. That's how you do it, is you don't give up. So that's the parting advice I would share with anybody. Just keep going forward.
Perfectly said. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the United States Department of Nerd Podcast, where indie comics come to life. Y'all be safe out there.
It's a trap!